Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and want to see more. Coming up, almost a full round of Super League fixtures with Leigh vs Hull, Wigan vs Salford Red Devils, Huddersfield Giants vs Wakefield Trinity, St Helens vs Catalan, and Leeds Rhinos vs Castleford Tigers. So as we're looking into the Super League with Hull FC and Warrington, the only game called off by COVID this week, it was left to the remaining 5 fixtures to entertain. That is what they indeed did. Now, we begin this week's Super League fixtures with Wigan Warriors versus Salford Red Devils. One of 2 fixtures played on the Friday, 6th of August. This game was played at the DW Stadium in Wigan. Before the game, it was an emotional time for the Warriors as retiring Don Manfredi was given a guard of honour by both teams, and he was also given the honour of bringing the ball out onto the field for the game to begin. The game ended Wigan 16, Salford 6, with tries from Sam Halsall on the 13th minute and Sam Powell on the 68th minute, with 4 conversions from Harry Smith on the 46th, 49th, 69th, 3 of which were penalties. A Joe Burgess try and a penalty from the boot of Javier Levet gave Salford a look-in as they led 6-4 at half-time, as both teams were down to 12 men for fighting, as Jordan Johnston of Salford and Morgan Smithies of Wigan Warriors were both given 10 minutes at the 32-minute mark. Ata Higano was also sent to the sin bin in the second half, as on the 63rd minute he caused a high tackle on Jackson Hastings just as the Australian has started to pull the strings in attack for the Warriors. So our second game for Friday was Castleford versus Leeds at the Admiral Headingley Stadium, where Castleford arrested their Super League slump in style with a thrilling 32-18 win over Leeds to avenge their humiliating home defeat of 60 points to 6 to the Rhinos in May. Winger Greg Eden scored 2 tries on his first appearance for almost 3 months, as the Tigers secured only their 2nd win in 9 games and kept alive their outside top 6 hopes. Coach Darryl Powell urged his team to step up their efforts to give skipper Michael Shenton a chance of returning from a facial injury to lead them into the playoffs, and he will be thrilled by this response. They were superbly led by hooker Paul McShane in the absence of Shenton, while Powell was able to bring back 9 players who sat out Monday's defeat against Huddersfield and field 13 members of his Challenge Cup final lineup. Leeds also has standing captain Ash Hanley, who led the side in the absence of new skipper Matt Pryor, who was withdrawn due to COVID-19. But the Rhinos were also without their regular starting front rower Mikołaj Jalecki through injury, and they lost replacement King Vuniyayawa midway through the first half due to a head injury. Leeds trailed 6-0 at that stage after Castleford centre Jordan Turner pounced on a handling error by Reece Martin to get Eden over for his first try. Danny Richardson kicked the first of his 5 conversions and added a penalty to increase his side's lead to 8-0, before fullback Niall Devils slipped a pass out to the centre Peter Matautia to get him over for the 2nd try. It was a great pass out of the tackle by Evans, it was something that he's been doing all season, to be fair, but he's been consistently passing out of the tackle awesomely. Danny Richardson then hit his 3rd goal and made it 14-0 to Castleford, But they were reduced to 12 men on the 28th minute when Metalci was sin-binned by Ben Fowler, who was in charge of his 400th game, for a dangerous tackle on Handley. The Rhinos quickly made the most of their numerical advantage when halfback Robert Louis, back after a 3-month absence in the place of a suspended Luke Gale, fend off an attempted tackle of Oliver Holmes to score an opportunistic try, which Martin converted. Leeds, who looked like the livelier of the teams from the start, continued to cause all sorts of problems, particularly through attacking fullback Richie Myler, but failed to finish off their impressive build-up plays. Standoff Liam Sutcliffe, who had the ball knocked from his grasp when he went for the line just before the break, was taken off in the second half and gave hooker Cruz Leeming the chance to demonstrate his prowess as a playmaker. Leeming looked the part when he moved the ball out wide, from where a lovely tip on by Myler enabled centre Harry Newman to get Handley over for a try, which Martin goaled to cut the deficit to 2 points. Castleford struggled to handle the Rhinos' high-tempo game, but they scrambled well enough to score on the counter-attack to extend their lead on the 57th minute. McShane relieved the pressure with a neat break and then put in a lofty kick for Eden to get centre Jordan Turner over for his side's third try. Leeds loose forward Zane Tetavano was hauled down inches short of the line following a Myler's break, while replacement Brad Dwyer raced back to prevent a breakaway score by Eden, and the visitors clinched the win when Evans palmed the ball back from a Richardson high kick to give Eden the chance to score his second try. The impressive Dwyer gave a third try for Leeds in the closing stages, but Castleford had the final say when an 18th minute break by the outstanding Evans created the position of former Leeds centre Jimmy Kindors to score Castleford's fifth. That's how the score ended. 18 points to 32. Castleford's. So it's a clash of the Super League's top two, as St Helens hosted Catalan Dragons at the Totally Wicked Stadium. This was the only game played on Saturday the 7th of August, and it was an entertaining encounter as St Helens came out 34 points to 12 victors. The reigning champions were helped by Lachlan Coop's devastating 18 points haul, and the visitors were also resting several players and were without talismanic Sam Tompkins due to injury, and was not helped by Joe Tompkins' injury, as well as a Joe Chan sin-binning towards the end of the first half. So, Catalan were down to their last 18 fit players for the match, including forwards Tompkins, who defied an elbow injury to play before eventually being forced off, and suffered further knocks during the game to Paul Seguila, Benjamin Julian, Matteo Laguerra, and also the aforementioned Chan in forced off for injury. It was all St Helens during the first quarter as they took the lead after just 5 minutes, punishing James Maloney's failure to find touch from a penalty. A repeat set of 6 then allowed them to build pressure, with Johnny Lomax finding Makinson out wide for the winger to score. 4 minutes later, Saints were in again, and this time it was 19-year-old Dodd who grabbed the try with a bit of improvisation as he kicked forward a loose ball, with Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook looking to offload, and then drived over the try line and landed on the ball to score. Grace then produced a bit of magic for a converted try, which put the home side 18 points clear in the 17th minute. Stepping through the defence when he seemingly had nowhere to go on the left wing and stepped on the gas to finish. Catalans rallied after the break on the back of a set restart on the penalty, with the Super League debutant Cesar Roge setting up another product of the Dragons youth system, Laguera, for a try converted by Maloney. Cout's penalty for a late hit by Chan on Metaltia which also saw the Catalans forward shown a yellow card, put 14 points to the goods, St. Helens, ahead of at half time, and they increased that lead 11 minutes after the break when Bachelor chased down rubber kick from Lomax to score. A yellow card for forward Metaltia, also for a late hit, saw the Dragons make the most of a temporarily numerical advantage as Alex da Costa sent Gudemont powering through the gap to score a try in the 50th minute. But another penalty from Cout and a converted try from the Hull Kingston Rovers bound fullback ensured that there was no way back for the French side as the back-to-back grand final winners claimed important victory. In a startling admission at the end of the game with an interview, St. Helens coach Christian Wolff said to Sky Sports that Lachlan Coote will be missed when he leaves the club after Coote played a big part in the Saints' win over Castle. So we now head off to the John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield as Huddersfield Giants played Wakefield Trinity on the first game of Sunday the 8th of August Super League fixtures, one of two games, and Huddersfield overcame a calamitous start to make it 3 consecutive wins in Super League, coming from 18-0 down to beat Wakefield 22 points to 18 in an extraordinary contest. The Giants conceded 2 tries in the first 4 minutes after having scrum half Oliver Russell Simbind, and they played the last hour without him after he was taken off with a head knock. Wakefield's coach Chris Chester will be livid at the way that his side stopped playing as he let slip the 5th successive defeat to remain second bottom of the Super League table. Trinity without Mason Lino for the first time since he arrived at the club, but were boosted by the return of exciting winger John Johnston for his first game in 6 weeks, while loose forward Joe Westerman was back after a month's absence. Huddersfield could hardly have made a worse start, with Wakefield's forward Tanganoa charging down at Russell's attempted clearance kick, and although he got back to prevent centre Riesling touching down, he held on for far too long in the tackle and was shown a yellow card for the professional foul. Trinity were quick to take advantage of the extra man as Link crossed over wide for the opening try, and scrum half Reece Hampshire supported a break from deep inside his own half for fullback Max Jowett to score a second. With Hampshire converting both tries, Wakefield were 12-0 up inside 4 minutes, and it got better for them when skipper Jacob Miller put Westerman through a gap for a try. Huddersfield's problems were beginning to pile up as he lost Russell and centre Leroy Cudjoe for a head injury assessments within minutes of each other, but they fought their way back into the game with 2 tries before half-time. Left winger Lewis Senior, who was directly up against his twin brother Innes, bent over on the overlap on the 18th minute, while substitute Sam Wood was gifted a try when Innes Senior attempted a reckless passing on his own line. Teenage standoff Will Price, who was left to shoulder the majority of the Giants' playmaking duties in the absence of Russell, converted Wood's try to make it 18 points to 10 at the break. Cudjoe was able to return for the second half, and he provided the pass for McGilvray over for his first try 8 minutes into the second half. 12 minutes later, Wood was the supplier as the England man scored his second to tie the game at 18-all, but both were too far out for Price to convert. Goal kicks mattered little, however, as Huddersfield momentum was coming to the fore, and they went in front for the first time on the 69th minute after centre Jake Wardle touched down Wood's perfect judge grubber kick for an all-important try. I did see the Sam Woods try, there's highlights of it there, and it was Lewis Senior. Sorry, it was Innis Senior. I keep getting which is on which side, twin brothers and all that. Innis Senior was trying to field the ball back from stopping a dropout, giving it a attempt at that, and he thought he got past one, which was Sam Wood, and then he decided to throw a pass inside towards the posts left, and it was jumped on Sam Wood coming back in recovery, caught it, put it down, try. Yes, it was tempestuous. Yes, there was bits of mistakes. Chris Chester will. And the last but no means least game of the weekend, it was the Leigh Centurions facing Hull Kingston Rovers at the Leigh Sports Village. It was the game of the weekend in my eyes, as this 6:30 kickoff at the Leigh Sports Village was a try-fest. So Ryan Hall's 13th Betfred Super League try of the season was unlucky for Leigh, but capped off a dramatic 34 points to 28 win in a rollercoaster match for Tony Smith's playoff contenders, OKR. Rovers played nearly 20 minutes of the second half with only 12 men, and were briefly down to 11 after cards to forwards Albert Vetts and George Lawler. Trailing 24 points to 8-10 after 45 minutes, Leigh, now winless in 15, staged a thrilling comeback to lead the game 28 points to 24. But Sean Kenny Dowell's second try of an exciting spectacle and Hall's latest touchdown to extend his lead as the competition's top try scorer ensured the Rovers went above rivals Hull FC to 5th the table on win percentage. Even though Leigh's skipper Liam Hood had a potentially equalising try disallowed for offside, Carl Haggerty's home side surely could not come any closer to breaking the duck than this. They scored the first and last tries of the opening period, but 4 in reply gave Rovers an 18 points to 10 interval lead. The advantage could have been greater, but ex-Centurion Ben Crooks missed 3 conversions. Leigh shrugged off the loss in the warm-up of injured forward Nathan Mason to make a turbocharged start. Former Salford favourites Junior Sow finished off a flowing move just after 58 seconds, and Joe Mellor briefly hoped he had doubled the Leigh advantage 8 minutes later. Chris Kendall signalled a try as an on-field. Yes, it was a try, as Mellor raced onto debutant Jack Logan's hack onto his teammate's initial kick. Video referee Liam Moore, however, ruled the ex-Widnes playmaker's failure to ground the ball as a no try. But Leeds could not sustain their momentum, reverting to type for this season and becoming too easy to score against. And it was young halfback Roland Milnes and Mikey Lewis at the heart of the Rovers' revival that brought 14 points in 7 minutes. Kane Lynette and Greg Minikin profited from interventions by Mill, the youngster's second angled kick plucked out of the air by Brad Takarangi, for his winger to run round the short side and touchdown. Then it was Lewis's turn, providing a pass assist for Kenny Dowell's 23rd minute try, before showing and going himself on the 34th minute to make it 18 points to 4. A try from Craig Mullen, which was also converted, dragged Lee back into contention before the interval. But Vet's beefy barge over, goal by Crooks, restored Rovers' 14-point cushion. That lead quickly evaporated as Tongan giant Vet was sin-binned for a shoulder charge on Matt G. Corbin Sin's high lunge on Mellor was fortunate not to receive the same punishment, but there was no reprisal for Lawler, who went high on loaning Josh Eves. Lee made the two-man advantage tell as Sal dashed over for his second try. Though Vet returned, Lewis was forced off with a head injury. With Rovers still down to 12, Sidlow's second try put Lee in front 24-28. Then Kiwi ace Kenny Dowell tied the scores with his own second try after 68 minutes before Hall went over late on to seal a stunning win. So as I mentioned there, it's 15 winless games for Lee Centurions now, and their only hopes at this point is if Super League suspend relegation for this season. So that's it for another video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember, like, subscribe and share this video worldwide. Also remember, the Just for Fun is right here. Please leave your comments as well. I love them. Any feedback that I get from you guys is much appreciated. I will just say thank you once more. All the best, and I'll see you in the next video.